Load balancer, high availability, and auto scaling. This is, you can think of network service essentially, but that comes in compute service because it is related. Most of the services which we will use as a backend from the compute, and I do not actually, I'm not able to differentiate that because all other container service or app engine, they have got their own internal load balancer. Purely in the context of compute service, we can just see simple plain the learning way for the load balancer in terms of high availability as well as auto scaling in one particular chapter. This is considered as a load network service in your syllabus, but I'm actually teaching it here or taking it here because I find it most appropriate to the compute plus network, and this is the right time for you to understand load balancer. Let's go ahead and get started. What is load balancer? Load balancer actually takes the request from the customer or any user and distribute the backend, distribute it to the backend services. That's the load balancer. So whether the user is from anywhere, it will just take the request and distribute the traffic. How the traffic will be distributed, Google has its own way of actually doing it. And Google load balancer is, yeah, or you can think of external or HTTP load balancer is SDN device. It can actually route your traffic based on where the customer is located. Okay, so the external load balancer is facing outside your GCP, where internal load balancer is within your GCP and within between your different services. So that's the difference between external and internal load balancers. In external load balancer, we have HTTP, HTTPS load balancer or SSL proxy load balancers. The regional load balancer, which is like external to the GCP, also considered as external load balancer, and that is also called as a network load balancer. Let's go ahead and get some benefits out of the load balancer. So you can actually scale your application because as and when it is required, you can spin up many more instances, and then the traffic is routed to the new instances. It supplies heavy traffic, detects and automatically removes unhealthy, and this is very specific in GCP world. Okay, it is not applicable to all the other installations, or I won't actually guarantee you that this is the same concept applied to GCP, AWS, or Amazon. Okay, so it detects and automatically removes unhealthy virtual machine instances that become unhealthy. Healthy again are automatically added. The health check-in configuration is used to identify health checking for the instances. It reroutes the traffic to the closest virtual machine, and that's the intelligent routing. We will talk about that very shortly. Before we get in details of the load balancer in detail, uh, first we need to understand, the terminology which we learned already as an instance template, which is a global resource, and that template defines machine type, image, zone, and other instance property for the instance in managed instance group. Okay, what is the instance group? So using instance group, you can actually define auto scaling policies, and we have two different instance group. One is managed and second one is unmanaged instance group. You can actually just look at managed instance group actually points to the instances which are in the same template, and so all the instances which instance group is managing, it is identical in nature. It can be used for auto scaling. You can do rolling updates. Changes to the instance will make the changes to all instances because everything is identical. Load balancing is possible for all those instances. Similarly, unmanaged is non-identical instances, and we saw this already. You cannot have auto scaling because it doesn't know which one to spin up, right, when the load is increasing. A rolling update can't be possible. You can make arbitrary changes to any instance, and that is advantage. It is just that you are managing group of instances together in unmanaged instance group. Load balancers, typically, as we said, you will get a request in your DNS or anywhere, and that is getting routed into multiple backend services, whether the service resides in one particular region or multiple region. That does not really uh, problem, because this load balancer in Google's context is SDN device, and it is global in nature. You can either route plain simple the traffic to backend in round robin fashion, or based on the usage or CPU usage of the backend instances. But at the same time, you can route the traffic based on type of the request is. As an example here, if you look at if there is a static request, which goes back, it will go to some instances. If it is PHP request, it will go to some instances like PHP related instances, and if it is a video, then it will go to some other instances in the backend. You can actually do this with load balancer. We saw this already, like the load balancer and how load balancer works, how the traffic gets routed via cloud load balancer and gets into the backend, and how actually the traffic gets routed to the nearest to the user. And I'll just run through this one very quickly within a minute. I hope so. So DNS has actually connection with the load balancer, and that's where the IPs are configured. When there is a request initiated from the central location, the load balancer understand that the request is from central, and it will route the traffic to the backend instances, whether it is compute or any other backend, to the central. If the traffic is from east, it will get routed to the east. If the traffic is from west, it will get routed to west. Consider a case wherein there are considerable amount of users logged in from the west, and the number of requests are getting continuously increased, and the CPU utilization for those boxes get more than 80%. That's where it will autoscaler will kicks in and will try to create additional instance for those services. But at the same time, what will happen is some of the requests, as because in the process of auto scaling gets triggered and usage is say 70 or 80% high based on the threshold which is configured for auto scaler to trigger, the requests, some of the requests will get transferred to central backend instances, just to make sure that the requests are served in expected latency. And we are going to see this in actual demo. So once we have actually the additional backend from the west zone created, load balancer will create a connection and will start actually sending the traffic. In between, what will happen, what is considered like what happened is the central instances just disappeared, right? In this case, there is no one actually to serve the traffic from the backend. The load balancer understand that there is no one to serve this traffic from the central. It will just route it to next nearest location, and it's not only the location. On top of it, it will just try to calculate how many requests which are being served by the backend instances, plus the CPU utilization and all those parameters based on your again configuration, and it will route your traffic to the next available plus who has a capacity to serve the traffic, right? That is an intelligence which is built in load balancer, so that is taken care, so you're not experiencing any issues as such from the customer's point of view. There are different type of load balancer that we have it. I'll just go to the console and show you so that we can even get started there. So if you go here and look at networking service, I don't find it. Okay, so it should be in compute engine. I don't see it. Where is that? Oh my god, I need to just find it out, right? Network service, that's where it is. Load balancer. Okay, I need to delete this. If you go to create load balancer, you will be presented with this UI. So the first one is HTTP load balancer. Okay. Second one is TCP load balancer, and this actually used for TCP, SSL proxy, and TCP proxy. It is internet facing as well as internal to single or multiple region. HTTP load balancer, internet facing only, and it can actually have single or multiple region as a backend. UDP load balancer, this is again internet facing. It could be internal, internet facing, or internal single region. So you need to make sure that the single region is very important here. Okay. So in a high level, if you look at, there is a global load balancer and then there is a regional load balancer. In global load balancer, you have HTTPS load balancing, SSL proxy load balancing, TCP proxy load balancing, right? And then in regional, you have regional external and regional internal load balancing. For regional external, they call it as network load balancer, and for regional internal, they call it as just internal load balancer. This is the decision tree which we have it to choose between the load balancers, which one to use. The simple thumb rule is, if your traffic is HTTP or HTTPS traffic, just go ahead and use whether it is global or regional, or whatever you do, that just use HTTPS load balancer. If your traffic is TCP traffic and you do need SSL offload, you use SSL proxy load balancer. If you do not need SSL offload, that's where you can use TCP proxy or network load balancer. Okay, this is again the regional one. For internal IPv4 clients, it is just an internal load balancer. Whatever you have it, you just need to use internal load balancer. Load balancer ports, there are different ports supported by different load balancer, as because the protocol which we use it. As an example here, for HTTPS or HTTP, it will either use AT or ATT. For HTTPS, it is very standard 443 ports. For SSL proxy with TCP with SSL upload, you will have these options out of GCP provided. All of these are like numbers. I don't think you need to remember these numbers for your exam. You just need to understand that there are different ports which are available for different load balancers. This is internal architecture. I'm not sure whether you are bothered about it, but I just wanted to give you high level thoughts around it. When request actually comes from anywhere, like DNS or any internet, the first thing which will kick in inside the load balancer is global forwarding rules, and that will pick that request. It will check the target proxy, URL map, and backend service which he has to hit, and it will hit the backend services. For the backend services to understand whether the instance is healthy or not currently, it uses the health check, and that information is available. It is an internal, you do not need to worry about it, but the backend service, you configure the actual endpoint, and health check, you configure different numbers, like how much time you want to do a health check and what is the link for a health check. Let me go here and just click on start configuration. So what it asks you the name of load balancer, GCP train CELB. Okay, create. I just created. I have not created it. I need to give the configurations, right? What is the backend service which I have to give? One is backend service. Second one is I can just give a bucket to retrieve that information. Create backend service, and I have to give GCP train C backend. What is that? Your hop, next hop. So when load balancer actually looks at your request, where it should get routed, whether it is instance group or network endpoint group, I can actually configure that here. Network endpoint means any endpoint which is required for required to take your request, and it could be anything, right? I'm just putting here instance group and add backend service. I do not have any instance group right now, so to create, I'll just cancel it. What additional information it needs? The host and path rules, like host and path rule determine how your traffic will be directed, and you can direct your traffic to backend service or storage bucket. Any traffic not explicitly matched with the host, the path rule will be sent to a default traffic. Okay, I can actually go ahead and create, if there is gcp trainc.com for images, route it to, I do not have any backend configured, so any cloud bucket, gcp bucket that I have configured, so you can route it to bucket, or for php instance you can route it to virtual machines. Front end path, similar. Front end IP address, what is that? And this is specify IP address, port of and protocol. This address is the front end IP for your client request, and this is where it will hit. It's a HTTP protocol or HTTPS, because we are talking about HTTP load balancer here. And network service tier, whether it is a premium, current project level tier, or standard. And if you want to understand that, traffic traverse Google high quality, Google backbone entering existing Google Edge peering closest to the user. Standard means this will be routed to closest to region destined. So traffic enters and exits Google network at the peering point closest to the cloud region it's destined for originated. So this is standard means it can even take a public internet for a longer distance, and traffic will be routed like that. So premium is the standard right now which we are using. I'm not sure how this actually differs your pricing as of now, because this option was not available earlier. IPv4 or IPv6, which traffic you want to serve. I'll just put 80 there, and that's it, right? I can just name HTTP/LB, and you can add additional IP and ports. I just said this one, and you can add additional ones. I do not have complete configuration here. I just wanted to give you high level thoughts there. Let's go ahead and proceed further on HTTP load balancer in detail in next lecture.